Hello, everyone. Welcome to Random Encounter 270 or 270. My name is Jono Logan, and believe it or not, we are starting to move into Not-E3. Yes, this is the period the period of time where formerly we would be getting excited over the E3 conference, and over the last few years, E3 has faded into the background and then died a horrible death, and it was resurrected, and then it died again. But it doesn't matter. This is the traditional time of year when gaming companies make lots and lots of announcements, and the big shows like the Summer Game Fest, all that will be featured on our next episode of Random Encounter. But the first shots of Not-E3 have been fired with two showcases that were on, I think, Wednesday and Thursday. And they were the PlayStation Showcase 2023 and the Marvelous Game Showcase 2023. So we thought we would do a quick news episode rather than wait on this because there was a fair bit of news here. But first, let's meet our panel. So we have a first timer here today. So from the news team, Alvin.
Hello.
Yes, and we have two returning champions today joining us from our Tears of the Kingdom episode. We have Des.
Hello.
And we have Izzy.
Hey.
If you'll excuse me going off for a second, how is everyone doing with Tears of the Kingdom? And Izzy, how is your Switch problem?
So I've learned that if I play with my Switch undocked, it lasts longer before it decides to overheat and die. So I've basically just been playing like in a half hour to 45-minute bursts undocked, which is not enough, but at least it lets me play.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of forcing you to play in healthy doses, actually, rather than what I've been doing, which I don't think anyone could ever describe as healthy.
Understandable with this game.
Yeah, Des, how about you?
So I'm at exactly the same amount of temples as I was last 2 weeks, but I did learn something great: is that all of the shrines correspond to the light roots in the depths.
Oh,
and once that clicked, it kind of blew my mind. And then someone else told me that the depths map is the Hyrule map flipped. So I'm just over here like making one of those, private investigator charts, just trying to put all these like random bits of info together. Just like, what? So
it's all connected.
It's all connected. Needless to say, I'm doing pretty good. I'm thinking more about it than I'm playing it, but I will rectify that over the long weekend.
Alvin, have you been playing it at all?
I actually unintentionally bought it because I had a pre-order that I forgot about. I wasn't intending on getting it right away, but I have it. But I'm not going to touch it yet. I have so much to play.
Your backlog is
yes.
extensive.
I just started Atelier Ryza finally, so I'm gonna play that first, at least.
Mm-hmm. I have been diligently working my way through. I decided that rather than play the game by just randomly going in a direction and be distracted by things and heading towards them, I decided to actually play the main quest and go to the various regions and then be distracted by things and heading towards them. So it's a subtle difference, but it does mean that I'm getting a little bit more progress than I was before. But holy crap, I love this game. I'm just having such a good time with it. It's so good and it's so big. There's so much to do. It's crazy. It's really consumed my life the last 2 weeks, and it will probably consume my life for at least another week and a half. I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, hopefully I will be done by the time of Not-E3 going into full swing, because there's going to be a lot to do, a lot to cover on the site, a lot of news coming out. So why don't we start digging into this? So we're going to start with the PlayStation Showcase. So this was the May Showcase, and the mixed reviews online, I would say. A lot of people were very excited by some of the games that were announced and some of the games that were featured. Others were quite disappointed by the lack of a lot of first-party games. There are rumors that Sony decided to hold back on first-party games for a presentation later in the year. I don't know if that's true, but that being said, there are some games here that are massive games that we're going to be covering, and some big surprises too that I was pretty excited about. So we're not going to be covering everything in this showcase because a lot got announced, and also a lot has nothing to do with us. So we're just going to dive in. The first game I think that actually had something, I guess, that we actually have something to do with is Phantom Blade Zero, which is a hack and slash RPG. It looks to be set like in, I guess, a stylized version of, I think, China. It's very, there's a lot of like, there's steampunky type aesthetics, super fast paced combat. It's very bleak looking. It looks really, really cool. When I saw it, I was like, okay, this is a game I think I could probably get into playing.
I believe the studio behind it is from Hong Kong, so probably China. Yeah, I think the aesthetics for this look really cool. So that's what immediately draws me to it. Nothing else in the trailer was like, I need this, but the just like how everything looks, A+.
Yeah, because I mean, the first 4 games were Fair Games, Helldivers 2, Immortals of Avun, and Ghost Runner 2. I guess an argument could be made that Immortals is sort of in our coverage, at least thematically, but it's certainly not gameplay wise. It looks like a fantasy first person shooter. So yeah, this is the first game that actually makes me go, okay, yeah, we'll cover this.
Yeah, this is the one that made me like sit up and actually start paying attention, because I was watching the showcase at work and I was like, Fair Games and the Call of Duty but Magic game. But this one, like I started looking at it and I was trying to remember if it was like there's a number of like Chinese and like from Taiwan and Hong Kong as well, like studios that are putting out these crazy looking games like Lost Soul Aside and I think it's called Where the Wind Whispers or something like that. But for a moment, I thought this was it until I saw them start going into that really flashy, like action RPG, like wuxia combat. So like this one really got me excited with, especially with all the set pieces, like when they're riding on the horses, and it kind of had like, if you've ever played the Dynasty Warrior games and you watch their intros where they're like surfing down waterfalls on horses and like, you know, hitting 50 dudes with one stick, like it really kind of captured that over the top energy and like really exciting to me. And it is my consolation prize because for this showcase, I wanted a Stellar Blade date, but of course I don't get that. So this is close enough and it looks really cool.
The mention of the Warriors cutscene or like opening cutscenes, totally. That is totally a good point. And I watched those cutscenes probably even almost as much as I played the games, and I love Warriors games. So
I'm reminded of something. I don't remember when this was. I've done so many episodes of Random Encounter. I cannot remember when I said this. We were talking something about, I think it was something about Chinese RPGs and Chinese video games, and that there was like a argument against them of some kind. And at the time I was like, well, that's a stupid argument. You better get used to it, because it's a massive market that loves video games and that are going to start producing world-class games. And it looks like it's starting to break through in the mainstream. And it's like, the way this game looks is stunning. It's gorgeous. I was very impressed by it. I think that it's going to be, hopefully it will be a fun experience.
I'm wondering if this is part of the China Hero project that Sony typically has going on, where they kind of highlight smaller developers. Like that's how Lost Soul Aside popped up. So I'm definitely curious if it's got like any support from Sony, or if it's just all, from what it seems like, a very small team. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of like Chinese games like hitting the market, hitting consoles, and kind of stepping out and getting that world, that kind of world premiere touch, which is really nice to see.
So anyway, yeah, we'll be covering this. Alvin, any thoughts?
I don't have too many thoughts about this game, but I do like that more Chinese games are coming out in the market. So it's good to see more than just Japanese games, you know? So
yeah, I agree. It's nice to see different perspectives of different kinds of games. It's the more people that are making games, the better. Okay, so moving on, we have Neva, which is, I would argue, it's like, I think Caitlin described it. It's Gris by the way of Princess Mononoke. So it's by the developers of Gris, which was a absolutely gorgeous, minimalistic kind of side scroller type game. And in this particular trailer, it's a bird dies and then fungus starts growing on the bird. And there's this woman and she has a giant dog friend and obviously like a puppy with horns. And there's a big battle with darkness, some kind of corruption. And the dog friend, big dog friend dies, and they're left with little dog friend and woman. It was. I thought it was a pretty effective trailer. So yeah, it really does look like, well, Gris by way of Princess Mononoke, like the whole nature corruption sort of thing. And I haven't played Gris. I own it. It's on my backlog, but so many things are on my backlog. And I really liked the look of this trailer. It was a gorgeous trailer.
Yeah, it's very pretty. I haven't actually fully watched the trailer yet, but looking at screens, I'm like, this looks really pretty. It does remind me of Gris, which I also haven't played either because of my backlog.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really nice.
I mean, any trailer that it ends with the death of a dog, that's a tearjerker right there.
Like when I was watching the trailer, there were a couple things where everyone I know, or at least everyone that I talk to about games and stuff, has Gris in their library but hasn't played it. But I do know one person who didn't really care too much for it based on how simplistic it was.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of hoping that, and I don't think we saw very much actual gameplay of this, but I'm hoping it's a little more involved because like there's definitely room for these extremely pretty games, but I'd like them to be like a little more game and less kind of like art piece, if that makes any sense. But it definitely has its place, but I want to see more. It's definitely interesting. And in that trailer, I hope I'm not the only one, but that the larger dog with the horns, I immediately thought Vicar Amelia from Bloodborne.
Same.
Like, no, she's dead again.
Yeah, you do know someone else who's played Gree because I've played it, Des. But
Oh, is that how you say it?
I mean, that's how you say it in French. I'm sure it's said differently in other languages, so that's how I say it. But yeah, so I actually liked Gree.
Gree.
But yes, that's probably closer. But I actually liked it.
Gris.
But I do think it was very simplistic, but it was gorgeous and it wasn't very long. So it was just like a nice short game to like melt into the art style. I hope this one has a bit more meat to it though, and it looks like it might, even though that was obviously not a gameplay trailer. And it's just as beautiful. So I'll be keeping an eye on it at least.
Yeah, it was an experiential sort of game. Like it's one of those games that is it's more you're in for the experience rather than the gameplay or the moment to moment gameplay.
Right.
Which I really like, to be completely honest. I'm a massive fan of walking simulators where literally nothing happens. So it's on my backlog. It's on everyone's backlog, like you said, Des. But it will happen eventually. Okay, going from sadness with dogs to joy with cats, we have Cat Quest: Pirates of the Caribbean, which is just funny as heck. So Cat Quest, there's Cat Quest 2, and these games they're RPGs in the sense they're very mobile inspired. Like they very much the kind of games you could easily play on your phone, and they've actually gotten some popularity on consoles because I had the first one on my phone for a while and I played a little bit of it and I enjoyed it. It was fun. And they've been, I don't think we need to say too much about Cat Quest, but yeah, I'm glad that this is a series that's continuing because they're not just fun games, but also they are very kid friendly as well. And I like I like kid friendly games. I like games that are complex enough that they provide some kind of substance, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot of controversy there, so anyone at any age can pick it up.
I mean, I own both 1 and 2 on multiple platforms and have never played either of them. So, but this looks fun.
It's cute.
Yeah, I think I have multiple copies of it from the Humble Bundle. So I think
this
I've
is a
given
Humble
out
Bundle classic.
I think I've given out more copies of it than I've actually played, but it does look really cute. The trailer was really endearing and just kind of wholesome. So it was kind of refreshing to see something so like, yeah, whatever, we're just going to be cats. And, it does have the best subtitle of all of these. So I'm going to award it that.
Yeah, that's the only way that Final Fantasy XVI could be better if it was Final Fantasy XVI Pirates of the Caribbean.
I actually played Cat Quest 1 and got the platinum. So
nice.
It's actually really cute. Really simple, really like short and sweet, really. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. I planned on playing 2. That one has dogs, which is exciting because I like dogs. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. The pirate theme is always a winner.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, like I said, I played it as well, and it's fun. It's not like the deepest RPG I've ever played, but as for something you can play on your phone or your iPad or heck on your PC just to kill some time and have some fun. I think it's a pretty cool game, and fun art style, nice simplistic, cartoony art style. It was when I saw it, I was like, Cat Quest, yay!
I think since Alvin mentioned dogs, we now all have to declare whether we are cat or dog people. I think that's the unwritten rule.
Oh, okay. Alvin, what are you?
Dog person more than a cat person. I've always had dogs in my family, but I've never had a cat, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Des?
My lawyer / cat, who is sitting on my arm, has advised me to declare my loyalty to felines.
Okay. Izzy?
I am a cat person.
I am allergic to both cats and dogs, but Amanda is a massive cat person, has had cats her entire life, loves cats, arguably more than she loves me. So I'm kind of a cat person by proxy, I guess. I look up a lot of cats on the internet to show her because I feel guilty that she can't have one. So I show her various internet cats to make up for it.
I'm the only one.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered.
You're outnumbered by cats. That's a terrifying thought. Okay, well, continuing onwards, here's a game that I don't know if we're going to cover or not. This has been something that Mike and I have been going back and forth on for literally months. Every time we see it, we're like, I really like the look of this game, but we just don't know. And that's The Plucky Squire. So this is I think it's a Zelda-like, sort of. It at first, it takes place in like a storybook, like a medieval storybook, hand-drawn kind of aesthetic. And then you can leap off of the page and enter into a 3D world of the real world as your like little hero guy. And yeah, it looks like there's several different gameplay modes, like not just side scrolling and not just Legend of Zelda style map based navigation, but also 3D navigation. There's a lot of gameplay here, and I don't know whether or not we're going to cover it, but I do like the look of it.
I think it looks really cute, and I swore it already came out, but I guess not. There must have been a trailer for it a couple of years ago at one of these.
I think there was, yeah,
events. But I really like the like link between worlds thing where you like basically turn into a picture on the wall and jump off. I mean, based on what I've seen so far from the like battles and just the overall presentation, I think it would be a perfect fit for a RPG fan.
I think you're probably right. We'll probably end up covering it.
And I think it like matches with, I think most of our readers are probably people who would potentially be interested in it too. So,
Yeah. You hear that, Mike? You're being outvoted.
I always like the idea of like changing your character with the environment, like because the character turns into a drawing and then it turns 3D, and then that's always kind of fun, kind of like what Paper Mario did.
Yeah, exactly. Incidentally, Mike, yes, I know that we are not voting against it. So if you are listening to this, I understand. Well, moving on to something a little bit more, I guess we were talking about Tears of the Kingdom earlier. Towers of Eghaspa, Towers of Eghaspa is I guess some people have been describing it as a Breath of the Wild like. I don't think it, I mean, some of the aesthetic a little bit. I think it looks a little bit more like, well, the gameplay of Horizon, to be honest. Not the aesthetic, certainly, but like the gameplay style looks a little bit more Horizon than Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild to me. I think that when anyone looks at a game now and somebody has a hand glider, they're like, yeah, I recognize that gameplay.
When I was watching the trailer, like, how you'll watch something and you'll be like, oh, we have Zelda at home.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
So it seems like we have Zelda at home, we have Horizon at home, we have Elden Ring at home, and we have Xenoblade at home. It was really interesting, and also like the trailer I'm watching now has like bow gameplay that seems kind of like Tomb Raider. So it seems like a lot of like really big ideas crammed together to create this like massive world. And like once you kind of get past, at least from the trailers, once you kind of get past of like everything that it looks like, it's just kind of really impressive how it brings those like Shadow of the Colossus and like Xenoblade Titans kind of to life. So it's definitely impressive. I'm not a fan of the name simply because it's hard to spell and I don't know how to say it.
Eghaspa. I think we decided, didn't we? Eghaspa. It's like a gaspa.
That's how I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. A gasp. Well, let's move on to a game where everybody knows how to pronounce this game. Even if they don't understand Roman numerals, they understand how to pronounce this game. And that is Final Fantasy XVI. So we have been getting more and more information and trailers and gameplay of 16 for a while now. There was a massive preview a couple of days ago for the site. If you want, I'll put a link in the show notes of Scott did a pretty big preview of this game. And I think that it's fair to say that there's a lot of people who are very, very excited about 16 coming out in about a month.
Yes. Also, that was probably my favorite trailer that they've had for the game. So
I only watched part of the trailer because I was trying to look away because I didn't want too much spoiler. But
I also am kind of on a blackout.
No spoiler list.
I'm going to give you all my theories now based on watching every trailer, and
that's another podcast. I'm going to be 100% honest and say that while I am super interested in this, I'm not dying to play Final Fantasy XVI. I haven't played numbered Final Fantasies in many years. I should. And obviously they're all standalones, and I suspect this is going to be an incredible game, an incredible experience. It certainly looks stunning. It's not my most anticipated game this year. It's the kind of thing that I'm very curious about people and their opinions on it, though. I can't wait to hear what everyone thinks of it.
Did you play any of 14?
Oh no, I'm not an idiot.
You like
Same.
money and time.
I have enough of a problem with Tears of the Kingdom for the last. Tears of the Kingdom has absorbed 2 solid weeks of my life, and that's been a problem. I don't want to think about what 14 would do to my life.
I've been
Same.
playing 14 since day one. And so one really exciting thing about
Day one or day one relaunch?
Day one relaunch, actually. So
Okay.
I'm not that crazy, but I'm still crazy. But with this, it's really exciting as a 14 fantasy, Yoshi P and the creative business unit 3, how they're kind of tackling a big standalone Final Fantasy. And I know some people are kind of a little let down that it's not, the standard, turn-based or ATB Final Fantasy, but every time I see it, it's exciting because I love the over the top, just absurd action. And so getting the Dragon's Dogma and DMC combat designer on there is it's a kind of a dream come true almost. So I'm really excited about it, and it's one of my most anticipated games, but I'm trying to keep my expectations tempered. So when I saw that trailer, which was very exciting, I'm slowly covering my face and looking at my work computer and just be oh, it looks nice in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, even as someone who's watching everything, I'm still trying to keep my expectations tempered because I also love Final Fantasy XIV. But a lot of what I love about that, I don't know is going to translate to this game or not. So I guess we'll see. But I can't see it being a bad game. It's more a matter of, is this what I want from Final Fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
So listen to Izzy saying that they love Final Fantasy XIV and how long it took me to get them to start playing Final Fantasy XIV.
Well, okay. To be fair, I did play at relaunch for a while with some friends. They just all faded off, so I faded off, and then you finally got me to go back to it. And then I powered through everything and loved it. And
just when you thought you were out, I pull you back in.
Yeah.
So I'll drag in Alvin and Jono next. Let me take a note for that.
Oh gosh.
Look, I've been hosting this podcast for a while, and I've managed to resist playing Final Fantasy XIV. That will continue indefinitely into the future because I know for a fact that if I play this stupid game, I'm dead. I'm toast. That's it. I'm done.
Des is really good at getting people to play games. I'm warning you.
Yeah.
16. 14 looks good too. 16 looks like a gorgeous title on a next gen console that hopefully will lead the way into Final Fantasy future. I'm not one of the people who is very precious about the turn-based battle systems. I love turn-based battles. I obviously I grew up on those Final Fantasy games, but I think that time has passed for the mainline series. I like how they've been doing kind of a hybrid model for for the 7 remake, for example. But yeah, I'm not surprised that they dropped the turn-based mechanics out of this game. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if there's even though we've had previews and things like that, I would not be surprised if there are some more touches in this game than we think that will bring us back to like the heart of Final Fantasy. I might be wrong, but this looks like a pretty big celebration of the series while also pushing it forward.
Yeah, and with the turn-based thing is, I think now where like RPGs are at, I think there are a lot of devs who do the turn-based thing better than I think Final Fantasy would. I think like the perfect Final Fantasy turn-based for me was 10. And I don't think anything before it was particularly amazing in terms of what they did with what they had, but it wouldn't be an episode that I'm on without saying that like the Atelier Augusta devs have kind of like mastered the art of turn-based combat. And so I definitely want to see like what Final Fantasy can do with like almost full action.
I mean, from like Final Fantasy VII Remake, you say is a hybrid, but to me, it's really just ATB repackaged in a like more interesting way that can grab the modern audience, but it's still like fully an ATB game. You're switching between party members, doing different actions all the time, building up an ATB gauge to do your actual actions that actually affect combat. You're not like dodging every attack or anything. You're taking hits, and your HP, you have to like manage your HP and your resources just like a turn-based game. So I think to me, Final Fantasy VII Remake is the evolution of that, and I'm okay if the main series does something else.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like ATB with like very minimal downtime.
My bottom line is, if you want to play a modern Final Fantasy with a turn-based combat, just play Bravely Default. That's what Bravely Default is. It's a spiritual successor to Final Fantasies 1 through 6.
Yeah, basically. I don't have any qualms about no turn-based either, but I am also tempering my expectations with 16 quite a bit, to be honest. I'm not excited at all.
It's so interesting that people... I don't think anyone... let's just take the current hotness, which is Tears of the Kingdom. Bizarrely, I don't think anyone was tampering down on their enthusiasm, or like no one was like biting their nails or thinking, please be good, please be good, please be good about Tears of the Kingdom. I think everyone was just like, this is going to be awesome. And then it was. And that's great. Where it seems like a lot of people are kind of like tiptoeing through the graveyard at midnight about Final Fantasy XVI, just saying, God, I hope it's good. God, I hope it's good. It's fascinating, though, that two different mentalities for these two games.
I think that's because of Final Fantasy 15 and how that one kind of limped out the door after like 10 years. And like we had so many huge promises and expectations, and then it kind of failed to deliver on a lot of them. I still enjoyed a lot about it, but it is like an extremely different game from when I played it at launch versus if you put it in your system right now. Like completely different game. One seems like a prototype of the other. And so, and also just with how big of a name Final Fantasy is, like with Tears of the Kingdom, like we knew Breath of the Wild was good as much as I liked to argue otherwise. But
yes, man of no joy.
Yes, the gloomness. But like with 16 is it's a lot of like hope and expectation, and just, you know, there's been a history of like bad FF games, and especially big ones. Like I loved 13, but I know it was a letdown to a lot of people. I know people who love 12, but it was a letdown to a lot of people. So it's like every one has like its lovers and its haters, but
except me.
Yeah. 15, it seemed a little more than the like 50-50 that you kind of get.
I would argue that every game after 10 had its lovers and haters. I don't think there's a whole lot of haters for Final Fantasy VI out there.
Hi, I'm Des.
My God, you are the like gloomiest person ever. You're just full of gloom.
Hipster blood. I've got Starbucks in one hand and like an essay about why your favorite thing isn't that good in the other.
Oh God,
I actually didn't like Final Fantasy VI that much until I replayed it with the Pixel remasters.
What is happening?
I just felt like Super Nintendo had a lot of games that were a lot better than Final Fantasy VI, and people held it up as being the best Super Nintendo game. So I didn't actually get around to fully playing it until like into the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 eras, and was just surprised that it wasn't better than all the games I had already played.
Okay, so I take that back. It turns out that there are some lovers and haters of Final Fantasy VI.
I still love it. I replayed it. It's great. I won't say anything.
It is on my schedule for a replay, so pending.
Yeah, you need to replay Final Fantasy 9 too, because you also don't like that.
So just to defend myself, I really love 7, 8, 5. I went out of order. 10 and 13 and 2. So I like the weird ones.
I was making a joke at the beginning of the last episode about Des being a man without joy in his heart. I was joking, and now it's like, oh my God.
I mean,
I was hitting right close to the truth there, wasn't I?
I am one of the few people who really like Final Fantasy II, but I'm not a huge Saga fan.
Okay, well, you win points there from me, but
yeah.
You know how to sweet talk me, Des.
Yes. Let's hate on Saga. It's like,
okay,
sweet.
You're out of the doghouse.
And onto the couch.
Well, let's move on from 16, because 16 is going to be coming out in a little under a month, and I have an odd feeling we're going to be talking about it a fair bit on this podcast. There are a few games left in this presentation that are still in our coverage. So Reverend Hill came up, and immediately everyone in the chat was losing their crap, saying Night in the Woods, Night in the Woods, Night in the Woods. And it's not Night in the Woods. It is from the same company with a very similar art style. Night in the Woods is not a game that I have actually played. Again, backlog. But I hear that there's quite a few things about depression in it, and I didn't want to deal with that right now. And by right now, I mean the last few years since COVID. So
yeah,
I love Night in the Woods. It's a heavy game in a lot of ways. It was how I connected with one of my cohort in grad school when I couldn't figure out how to connect with anyone in grad school because everyone is too busy doing their own research. So kudos to that game for that. But it's a very lovely game. So I'm very excited for this one. And I get to be like a cat instead of a cat person. So it's even better.
Yeah.
It's, so I didn't play it, but I watched a playthrough of it from, the old, Super Best Friends, Two Best Friends play channel. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad this isn't a sequel because the game had no voice acting, but the people doing the playthrough or the Let's Play, like their voices became the de facto canon voices in my head.
Ah, yes.
So I'm extremely glad that May is not in here, because if May is not woolly, then I don't want it. It's like May is woolly to me. So I am hoping there's like a secret reveal where Wooly from Castle Super Beast is like, oh yeah, I voiced this character.
There's a lot of old RPGs where Kyle Bossman is now the voice of the characters for me, so I understand.
That's pretty funny. Well, moving on from this into a game that has kind of become RPG fan infamous, and I think it's just infamous in general, which is Granblue Fantasy Relink. Now, this is a game that has been on our most anticipated games UF lists. It's been in our 2020 list. It's been in our 2022 list. It's been on our 2023 list. And seeing as it's theoretically coming out in winter of 2023, I have an odd feeling it's going to be on our most anticipated of 2024 list. And Des, you are probably going to be writing that blurb.
I am already working on it as we speak. But this game is, oh man, when was it announced? Like 2018, 2017?
I think the end of 2017, maybe? I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's been like in development hell twice. So it's kind of like, Dante's Inferno or whatever, like the multiple circles. Where, who was it? Creative CC2 or something like that? The guys who did like the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games. Weren't they the ones working on it?
No, it was Platinum.
Platinum. I was thinking of Final Fantasy VII where CC was taken off of it.
Yeah, Platinum's apparently working on it it was announced in 2017 at Granblue Fest 2017. And it's been worked on since 2016 by Platinum, and then Psy Games took it over after 2019.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest.
Yeah, like I really love Platinum Games style, but they do have hits and misses. And if this is what happened, if like this was shaping up to be one of their misses, like Korra or I know the Transformers one was good, but if it was shaping up to be like one of their misses, then I'm glad that Psy Games, pulled them off and kind of redid what they could and then put their own spin on it, because everything that I've seen, especially with these latest trailers, has just looked absolutely phenomenal.
It does.
I have some questions still. I want to know how multiplayer works, because I'm going to drag as many people as I can into these like, multiplayer battles, quests, and it kind of makes me think of how White Knight Chronicles was way back in the day, where I had all these like grand dreams about, hey, I'm going to play this game with my friends, and then it was White Knight Chronicles. So I'm very excited for this, and I'm hoping it's like the beginning of winter and not the end.
Yeah, it'd be cool if we didn't have to put it on another list.
I'm somewhat expecting it to be the end of winter.
I am too. The end of winter 2025.
Oh gosh, I wouldn't be surprised.
I just get that Persona image where they're like, what was it?
2015, I think.
Yeah, like winter 2013 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, the game has been anticipated for many years now, and I will say that this gameplay trailer looks pretty great. It looks fantastic. So it would be really nice if this thing came out and we got a review on it.
Grand Blue is the reason I'm on this podcast. I've been playing the original game for 7, maybe 8 years.
Wow.
And my husband Vasaraga is in the trailer. He got announced. I'm very excited that he's in there because he's a male drop, and that race often gets ignored, especially the males for the gacha. But he's like the only one that gets all the attention. He's in Grand Blue Versus. He's in this game. So I'm very excited that he's in it.
I think it looks pretty great. Great stylized graphics. Looks like a pretty classic RPG-esque story. There's a lot here that I think that fans are going to be, massively in favor of playing this game. So yeah, it looks good.
It kind of feels like I'm getting an extra Tales games to me, so
it does look like Tales, doesn't it?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay. Then we had Tower of Fantasy. I don't have that much to say about this.
Skip.
Yeah, looks fine. There's numbers.
Really.
Their enemies are bleeding numbers. We'll probably cover it. Dragon's Dogma 2 was a big surprise from Capcom. I mean, there were a few surprises from Capcom in this thing. There was also a Street Fighter VI story trailer, and I understand that some people are covering Street Fighter VI sort of as if it's an RPG. It's not, but I appreciate the fact that they're shoving some more story into it. That's cool. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2. I got to be honest, I've missed this game many times. I've not heard about it. And then I was like, Dragon's Dogma, what the heck? And I looked it up, and this game is, I don't understand why they're making a new one. This game gets ravaged every single time one gets released. It gets terrible reviews.
I think the first one was kind of a, it had to grow on people.
Like Kyle Miller gave it a 68 for us. And then Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, Rob Steinman gave it a 60. Oof.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
I know quite a few people who love Dragon's Dogma. They keep asking me to play it, but it's in my forever backlog as usual.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Capcom games of all time.
Really?
It's amazing, and it feels like Berserk in a lot of instances.
Yep. I am incredibly excited for Dragon's Dogma 2. I've played probably north of 100, 150 hours of the first one. Cat people now, I'm excited because my dream for Dragon's Dogma 2 was that they would just be like, hey, we have Breath of Fire, why don't we merge the two? And then we'd get like an anime art style Dragon's Dogma 2 with like furries and scalies. But instead, we get cat people in Dragon's Dogma 2. Maybe they'll even have other species, and I can make a Breath of Fire party again within the game.
We'll take
I'd be
it.
cool with that.
I mean, it's kind of exciting that Capcom's actually making a fantasy RPG again.
Yeah. To sell people on Dragon's Dogma, the coolest part of it is how unique each class is and the kind of crazy you can do with those classes. With a mage, you can create a tornado, and it is like a full-scale tornado that meanders around the battlefield, destroying everything in its path. You can call down meteors. If you're a magic archer, you can launch like a bazillion arrows. If you're assassin, you can jump on your enemies and ride them into the sky and stab them in the throat.
Yeah, it every class feels like it plays like it's from a different game. Like the Magic Archer, you are essentially playing Ace Combat with all of these lock-on abilities and really cool like lasers and missiles and pew pew all over. The Magic Knight is like this really weird kind of it's really hard to describe, but essentially you're like laying traps and like luring in enemies and like hitting like electrical elements and stuff towards the enemy. So it's kind of like I don't know, almost like a little bit of like baseball with like some tower defense.
You start to feel like when you're really high level, you could spawn like all of these orbs and then just hit them with your weapon, and then like hundreds of glowing projectiles are flying at your enemies.
Yeah, and you can also like climb on the enemies. So like you might have seen footage of someone on a griffin as it's flying through the air. So it kind of has some of that like Shadow of the Colossus vibes, but like really small. And it's also just really spooky at night. And one of the few games that actually made me kind of scared to step like into the darkness, because
I could pitch black.
Yeah, I could see like silhouettes of like a dragon like 30 to 40 meters away, and I'm like, if I move, it's gonna see me, and I'm gonna have to walk all the way back here. It's like very kind of brutal, kind of dark fantasy, but it's also really silly.
And so silly.
It's such an exciting thing to have this one with like what appears to be budget and time behind it, which to me is very important. It works wonders for a lot of games.
It sounds like it was a remarkably ambitious game.
Yes, and then it was full of glitches because of it.
There it is.
That's why the budget,
anymore, though, right?
Fingers crossed. Maybe it'll be a Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Nintendo were just glorious, insane people where they're like, there's like a few bugs here. Let's delay it for a year and just work out all the bugs. And it's like, could you imagine Bethesda doing that?
They'll delay it for like 6 years and still have all the bugs.
Exactly.
I know, right?
Well, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not unpleasantly surprised that I thought that Dragon's Dogma 2, based on what I've heard, a lot of people were like, meh. But you two are like, yeah.
It is extremely exciting. And in a Discord server that we run, we call it like drag dog. So we're like, drag dog, drag dog, drag dog. It is a very exciting thing to have it. Like yes, it exists. If you're a Resident Evil fan, getting that Resident Evil 2 remake announcement, like, yes, we do it. That's kind of what we got during the Capcom showcase last year, I believe. Oh. So like actually having this look amazing is really exciting. So it's a lot of hype on my end.
Well, for both of your sakes, I really hope it's amazing. Genuinely, I really do.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Well, let's move on now. There are some other games I'd like to talk about in the PlayStation Showcase, but I'd like to get through the rest of our coverage before we dive into things that aren't in our coverage. So the Marvelous Games Showcase was the day after the PlayStation Showcase, and it was a weird friggin' game showcase, primarily because they kept announcing things that like games that didn't exist yet, with like just nothing but concept art. So they opened it up with a trailer of Loop 8 Summer of Gods, which is an RPG that's set in 80s Japan, which will be coming out soon. And I think it looks cool. This looks up my alley. But that's not new. I think that was like a tease because that's coming out soon. They followed that up with Fashion Dreamer, which is a fashion life sim kind of game, which if someone came up to me and was like, should we cover this? I'd be like, no. But if someone came up to me and was like, can I cover this? I'd be like, hells yeah. If someone wants to cover this game, please, you can. But I don't know if it's in our coverage.
It looks cool. I'm not into a fashion sim really, in that I'm into fashion in games, but when it's a game that I'm doing other things in, like in Final Fantasy XIV, I can spend all the time on glams there, but I don't necessarily have an interest in a game solely focused on that part of it.
The only time I'm into fashion in video games is when I am dressing my hostesses in Yakuza.
I like it when it's part of, like when it has like a gameplay mechanic. So like Final Fantasy X-2, where like the fashion and changing the dress spheres, or Final Fantasy 13-3, Lightning Returns. I hate that title. Where like changing your outfit like changes like the paradigm or like the whole class. And then it's you kind of get that with, like 14 with like, I'm a bard now, so I'm going to dress like a bard, unless you just glamour prism everything. It looks interesting, but there's a fashion RPG called like Infinity Nikki, which seems more interesting to me. So I don't know, maybe I'll make an argument, or just if I'm bored, maybe I'll try and review it and make a very heated argument about it. Like, this is why you must play fashion. What is it called?
Fashion Dreamer.
Fashion Dreamer. There we go. This is off to a great start.
It just looks like Marvelous's answer to Style Savvy to me, which I don't know anything about either. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not something that I'm particularly excited about. Then they did 2 announcements of games that don't exist yet but are in development. Project Magia, and which I thought was like, whatever. But then they showed Project Life is RPG.
Oh man,
I'm
And
into this one.
yeah, I was like, this concept art looks cool, and their pitch for it, like, inspired by classic RPGs and like their take on it, and exploring the world and setting off in your own ship. It's like, okay, yeah, you were winning me over with this pitch.
Yeah, we know nothing about this game. It
Nothing.
might never even actually come out, but the concept art is gorgeous. Reminds me of some of my favorite games like Chrono Cross. The like promise there will keep me interested. I mean, the director, I think Itetsu Suzuki, was the director of God Eater 3, which I never actually got around to playing, but at least he's completed games. So I have hope that this will be a game that gets completed. Also, coincidentally, looking him up, the first thing that comes up is a Japanese porn star, not him. So you probably want to put director or something after his name.
You know what? That's probably not a bad idea.
or put game in there or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the concept art of this like immediately gave me Chrono Cross vibes, like almost as like when you're in the port cities or like in the, I think it was Termina. It seems like the kind of game where, you're going to take the story of these other people on the boat. So that's just kind of the vibe that I get. And God Eater 3 was actually really great, especially if you're like a Monster Hunter knockoff. Great story, really weird, but is just really exciting. So it's kind of interesting to see how he takes this like colorful world and brings it to life based on how like grim dark God Eater 3 was.
I mean, my expectations from RPG is life, plus coming from Marvelous, plus like the art, is that there is going to be a lot of sim elements to this, and I'm interested to see if it's like sort of like, like Fantasy Life or something, where you can choose to do a bunch of different like simmy stuff. Like you can go fishing, you can cook, you can farm, but you can also go do a story where you're fighting monsters and saving the world. I could see that being what we're looking for here, but who knows? I mean, they might not even know what the final result is yet.
I mean,
like, I'm sure they have ideas, but how many things will get cut from the final product by the time it's done, right? So,
and yeah, based on everything else on this list, there's probably farming involved. So I think you might be onto something.
Well, speaking of farming, continuing, I don't want to get into the Harvest Moon Story of Seasons controversy. The point is, it was Harvest Moon. Then there was a big split. There was a schism. Now the official Harvest Moon is now Story of Seasons, and they announced technically 2 games. It was a little bit fuzzy. One is just it's Story of Seasons. It's like they've taken a step up visually, but it still looks exactly like you'd expect a Story of Seasons game to look. It's a farm sim. And apparently they're working on a multiplayer version. I think that's what I took from it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were saying they were working on a separate game or if it was like part of this game.
Like a
wasn't
mode, yeah.
Completely clear, but
yeah. I mean, are there any Story of Seasons fans here?
I mean, I like the games. I've played some of them. Harvest Moon, It's a Wonderful Life or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
good game, and I played it a lot when I was a teen. But I might check out. Whether or not I check out a Story of Seasons game is basically dependent on if it comes out when I have a lot of free time, or else I see it on sale when I have a lot of free time.
Okay.
I own many of them, but I have not played one. But the main reason I bought the last few was because they added same-sex marriage. So that's what got me to buy it.
Supporting it, yeah.
Right. Like, that's something I'm really liking from Marvelous, because Rune Factory also added it. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Which also got some big announcements. So there are 2 Rune Factory games coming out. In the presentation, they talk about one is East and one is West. So the East one is Rune Factory Project Dragon is their code name, I guess. And it's set in a fictional Eastern country. And there are dragon. Honestly, at the beginning, I was just like, "Ooh, it's Falkor." It was just a big white luck dragon flying through the sky. And I mean, it looks cool. It looks epic. Rune Factory is essentially Harvest Moon plus fantasy RPG. And then they also announced Rune Factory 6, which is going to be a much more Western focused title. And yeah, they're Rune Factory games. So Marvelous, like, again, I'm going to be completely honest. These are not games that I have particularly been into or wanted to play. That's not saying that they're not worthy of it. And I know we have some big fans on the site of Story of Seasons and Rune Factory. Yeah, so they look cool. They look good.
I learned from Harvestella that a farming game that focuses more on the RPG elements is more what I want than what Rune Factory is, which is kind of the opposite. So I'll be curious to see if going forward, if Rune Factory can hold my attention after I played Harvestella and it became one of my favorite games with farming of all time.
Yeah, I still I know I got in trouble with a lot of people on staff for saying this, especially Nikki. I think I asked Nikki, in a world where Stardew Valley exists, why does this matter? And yeah, it turns out it matters a lot for people who like farm sims. Anyway, let's pivot now. So those are all the RPG coverage. We're almost out of time in this episode, but there are a few games that were announced in the PlayStation Showcase that we are not covering that I want to talk about. So first up, we saw the phrase Square Enix, and I was like, okay, this is us. And then it was Foam Stars.
So those faces and Foam Stars immediately made me think this was going to be an NFT game. And I'm still not sure if it's not.
It might have been in the past. And then it was like, oh, we got to pivot fast. I mean, this looks like Square. This looks like their answer to Splatoon.
Right.
And I mean, by their answer, I mean, it looks like Splatoon, just with foam instead of paint. But it was, this got us. I remember, I think I wrote it in the channel. I was like, do you remember when the word Square Enix came up and we could automatically assume that we're covering this game? Those days are long gone. But I don't give a crap about this. It's just so silly. Oh my God, it's so silly. Silly.
Maybe it'll be fun or something, but just watching the gameplay, the foam, like the fact that it's foam and yet it feels really stiff feels super awkward to me. Like it's like the foam doesn't behave like foam and that's your whole thing is foam. I don't know.
Is a foam party. One game that I got extremely excited about because it looks like a sequel to one of my favorite puzzle games of all time is Talos Principle 2. I love the Talos Principle. I thought it was so good. And I love the story. I love the line of thought, the vaguely religious kind of stylings behind it. That game really hit me where I lived. And it was a good puzzle game on top of that. So the fact that they are releasing a sequel, I'm excited. I'm super excited. And it hit me. I got blindsided by it. I didn't expect this one.
I should probably play the first one. But
yeah, I think I own it, but I've never played it, but I've seen people play it, but it also looks a little too big brain for me. Based on how some of those puzzles are. But I saw a kitten, so that was exciting.
Yeah, cats are a thing here. But it's a very cool concept. I really like it. No spoilers, but it's a really cool concept. I'm just going to go through like the games that really caught my attention, then we'll talk about if any games caught your attention. Even though I'm not going to play it, the fact that Resident Evil 4 has a VR mode, that's the biggest no-brainer ever. It's like, good. It should. Yeah, that'll sell like hotcakes. That's a smart move, Capcom.
Didn't they already remake the game in VR?
They did, and then they were like, let's put the remake in VR too, and they did.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, I know. It's weird, but it's like, okay, why not, I guess.
Resident Evil 4 has to be in the running for some of the most releases of a single game.
Yes, Capcom, Resident Evil 4 and Street Fighter 2, I suspect Capcom has some records on both of them. And there was a lot of VR, I'm just going to say VR crap in this presentation. I wish VR was
cool, good, anything.
Doesn't make you sick.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to say. Doesn't make you sick. Amanda gets super motion sick with first person games, and she's like, if I put on a VR headset, I'm just going to pass out. So we aren't buying one. The only thing that would ever make me consider buying a VR headset is if Portal 3 was a VR only title, which in my opinion, if that's the best reason for Valve to make Portal 3.
Yeah, for me, the thing that would get me to buy VR would be if I could play like a Gundam game or some kind of mech game.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Kind of like, you remember Steel Battalion, how it had that like crazy controller?
Yes.
If I could do that in VR, like I would be very happy. Like I would like get a barf bag and just have it by my side just in case. But like everything else is just, it always seems like tech demos. Like even the Resident Evil stuff was like really shaky, and like as exciting as it would be, it doesn't speak to me. So I'm glad that PSVR 2 people get something, but every time the PSVR 2 comes up, I pretty much take like a power nap.
Same.
one thing about it is that we basically have to buy a whole nother console, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not very accessible.
Well, speaking of whole other consoles, surprisingly, Sony announced technically a brand new console. I believe it's called the Sony Wii U.
Apologize to the Wii U.
It's a goddamn Wii U. Like, it's a Wii U. It's literally what it is. It's a streaming. It's a PlayStation 5 controller strapped to a big screen. Like, they're desperately trying to get some of that Switch and Steam Deck money, obviously, but it's not a portable console in the sense that it has a console inside it. It's a streaming device.
It's like someone took an Ultra Hand and just put 2 controllers on either side of a tablet and just stuck it together and called it good.
No, it's the concept of this is literally, have you ever wanted to play PlayStation 5 on your toilet? Well, now you can.
I already can do that with the Steam Deck, though.
Technically, you could do it on your phone, too.
True.
Yeah, so it's just a really weird, and I mean, if this thing gets released for like, I don't know, $100 or like $150, I'll be like, okay, I can see the utility of this, but it's not going to be. This thing's going to cost like $300 or $400.
Oh, that's lower than I was expecting. I was like, knowing how Sony stuff goes, I could see this being like $799 with 3G.
Apparently, it's a really nice screen, like a really, really nice screen, and those aren't super cheap. So, like, I think $100 is like the bare minimum. If they want to make a profit off this thing, it's going to have to be expensive. And then if they're not going to make a profit because no one's going to buy it.
Well, I do think
weird announcement.
I'm glad that this exists because I think it's going to save one of my coworkers' marriages, but we'll see.
Well, then it will all be worth it.
Yes. So I've got a horse in the race. Please be good. Please be cheap, because that guy deserves to be happy.
We also have something that I have no interest in because I've never really played. I played the first 2. I like them, but Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, I believe. And I think that there are some people who are pretty excited about this one.
Right. I mean, Metal Gear... until like a year ago, Metal Gear Solid 3 is actually the only Metal Gear I had played, but I played it a lot. I love that game. Somehow didn't become a Metal Gear fan despite loving the hell out of that game. And so I'm obviously excited for a remake of it, but I'm also very excited for the fact that they announced a collection of the first 3 games as a remaster thing, because now I've played the first one like a year ago, and now I could go and play the second one as well. And it says Volume 1, so maybe I'll get to play the 4th one somehow if they manage to make the 4th one work on modern consoles.
Yeah, if they can just like dig it out of the graveyard called the PS3.
Yeah.
And just like
so much is buried on that damn console.
Right? And so I want Volume 2 to have like Peace Walker 4 and maybe one of the like portable games. But I'm really hopeful that this also opens the door to Metal Gear Rising being in one of these collections.
Oh, that would be good.
Like, I adore Rising. It is the stupidest game I've ever played, and I love it so much.
Yes, it's great. I guess I am curious what this remake's actually going to do with Snake Eater, because it's kind of already perfect for what it is. I hope they don't do like major gameplay changes and only like some quality of life stuff. But then I feel like it could end up being like a Blue Point style remake where it's basically the same game with just some touch-ups and it's way better looking. And that's kind of what I want, but I guess we'll see.
You are welcome that I willed this into existence because of my little Korok, the Sorrow joke I made on the last episode. So you're welcome. And it seems really exciting, but it's also kind of funny just how cagey they're being about who the developer is. Like, we think it's Virtuous, we think Blue Point might help, but I think they learned their lesson from Silent Hill 2. Because once the Bloober Team logo popped up, like, I went haywire.
Yep, I was like, oh, I'm not buying this.
2 games I just want to bring up real quick. Alan Wake 2. Last year, I don't even know what brought it about, but I got really into Remedy games, Remedy Entertainment. I played the first Alan Wake. I loved it. It's the closest thing I've played to. I mean, it was very much a David Lynch Twin Peaks knockoff kind of game, but I really, really liked it. Really get into it. And then I got into its sequel, semi-sequel, and then I played Quantum Break, which got some mixed reviews. I really liked it. Then I played Control, and I friggin' loved Control. So I am very much in on these games and their particular brand of gameplay and cinema and music combination that they have been pushing forward. One of my favorite bands I've discovered through these guys. One of my favorite bands is oh my goodness, why am I blanking? Poets of the Fall, and they do a lot of music for Remedy. So I'm so excited about Alan Wake 2. I expect it to be a lot of things that I love. So, and it looks really, really great.
Remedy's a tough one for me because I love their stories. I love their like aesthetic. I love what they do with the world and all that stuff. They have cool ideas, but I've never enjoyed the gameplay in a Remedy game.
Interesting.
Not one.
Not
I
even
don't know why
Max
either,
Payne?
really. No.
Wow.
I think that for me, a lot of it is the experience and the aesthetic and the feel of it. I agree with you that gameplay wise, they're not the greatest games in the universe, but I love the way they do their story. And I mean, as someone who is a former actor and who did a lot of summer stock, I love their almost summer stock actor use, where it's like they hire the same actors over and over again to play different roles. I like that a lot. That kind of feel. It's just something that appeals to me.
One thing I really liked about the initial announcement of this one was how they're leaning more into the horror elements of it. Because that's one thing that I really loved about the first Alan Wake, but like Izzy had an issue with the gameplay, is that it kind of sucked after a while, where all you do is just point your flashlight at a monster or, you know, a shadow thing for like 5 seconds and then shoot it.
You know what dramatically improves the gameplay, actually? Cheats that give you unlimited batteries in your stupid flashlight.
Oh, I was going to say just watching someone else play it, but that works too.
No, I was like, okay, I'm loving this. I love the aesthetic. I love the game, the feel, everything about this. I hate the stupid flashlight. It wasn't even challenging. It was just irritating. So I was like, I'm just going to download a trainer that lets me have infinite flashlight. And I did. And instantly the game didn't even become easy. It just suddenly this annoying mechanic that didn't really work just vanished. And I had such a good time with it.
That sounds like a good mod or trainer to have, along with the the brand, what was it? Product placement. It would be great to put that back in and just have like the obnoxious Duracell batteries everywhere and like the Coleman thermos. I think it was Coleman.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm excited about this, and I should probably give the original another run, and I should get back to Control because it was exciting and it was way up my alley, but I think it just came out at like a bad time. Like other exciting games came out.
Games are easy to fall off of. They just are, even if they're good. And last but not least, the big reveal in this was Spider-Man 2. I don't want to say too much about this, but Spider-Man, Insomniac seems to be scratching the itch that Arkham has left in my life, that the WB and Rocksteady do not seem to want to give me. I think it looks really, really cool. I'm a massive Marvel fan and Spider-Man fan. I really like the way they're handling the suit, the black suit, the symbiont. It looks really cool. I like the look of it. I like their take on the suit. So yeah, kind of excited about this one.
I am extremely Marveled out to where I'm almost to the point where I'm anti-Marvel. So like when I see the logo pop up on anything, I'm like immediately checked out. But with this, the gameplay that they showed and like the swapping back and forth between Miles and Peter was really cool. And the set pieces were pretty exciting. And just how fast they jumped in from like getting out of a cutscene into the world and then zipping across the entire city within like seconds was crazy and extremely impressive. So like for this being a Marvel game that I don't care about, like exciting me and wanting me to play it is, I would say, you know, speaks volumes to the quality of what they showed. So I'm considering playing 1 and Miles Morales now, just to catch up.
Yeah, Miles Morales is great. It's a very good game.
I just recently started the original Spider-Man game. I'm actually having quite a good time with it.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, like I actually really suck at action games, but I just love web slinging around the city. It's a really good feeling, and
it is. It's
so fun to just like do those tricks and just fly everywhere.
I think the game difficulty is an interesting topic that we'll not talk about now, but I think that if you are not good at action games, that is no reason why you can't play action games. Like, just kind of, if you're on PC especially, just do what I did for Alan Wake. Download a trainer. Make sure it's a safe trainer or like cheats or something, and just tweak the game so it suits your playstyle if there are no built-in difficulty options. And I think there are in Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's an easy mode, but I'm still playing on normal because I'm a stubborn V-word.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me, I as stupid as it sounds, in my brain, I'm just like, if I play on easy, I'm not getting the experience that the game was intended to give me, even though that's not true.
It's not true, yeah.
Have you played the Uncharted games?
No, I haven't.
If you do, play them on easy. Trust me. Those are the games that will break that like stubborn nature of like, oh, I need to play this on hard or normal.
No, I'm never someone who wants to play a game on hard.
Like for me, like for horror games, I will, but like I don't want to play like a cover shooter on hard because I'm going to be sitting behind a box waiting for my turn to shoot. And so like the Uncharted stuff, when you play them on easy with like all of the assists and stuff, they essentially just become like a playable movie. And it's so much better at like getting that experience and feeling across. So like for anyone who like has qualms about playing on easy, like sometimes it just makes the experience so much better.
Okay. Does anyone have another game in the showcase, in either of the showcases that they want to talk about?
I think the only one that we skipped that I was interested in was Daemon X Machina, but I liked the first one, but I really, really, really hope that this one, the NPCs shut up, because like it was horrible trying to play the first game and just having characters like having back and forth conversations with each other while you're in the middle of battle. And just imagine like two people having an anime conversation while you're focusing on trying not to get blown up by like 85 tanks. And it was just really hammy and over the top, but it was like there was no direction or like someone saying, maybe we should save these for a cutscene, or maybe these should be your little codec calls or something like that. It was just constant talking. So I'm hoping that they learned from some of that, but I'm really excited because it's mecha, and I will probably try to find a way to weasel it in as an RPG somehow. So look forward to that.
I will do my best to resist. Well, like I said, this was the first salvo in Not-E3. If you join us in 2 weeks from now, which will be on the 12th, we will be covering pretty much all of Not-E3 and all of the big conferences. That's going to be a big episode. That's going to be a very big episode. We'll probably have lots of people on, and it'll be like 2 hours. So prepare yourselves for that. We're going to cover everything that we possibly can that was announced that is in our coverage, and probably a few things that weren't just like this one. If you'd like a way to support us here at RPG Fan, we've opened up a store. You can find it at www.rpgfan.com/shop. Our 25th anniversary merchandise is all posted now, so be sure to give that a look because it's pretty cool. If you'd like to support us here at Random Encounter, you can do so by listening to some of our old episodes. We have lots. Just refresh. If you really want a refresher on what Not-E3 is like, check out last year's Not-E3 episode, and you can have fun figuring out which games have actually released in the last year. Surprisingly, not as many as you'd think. We also have 2 other podcasts here at RPG Fan. We have Retro Encounter. The last 2 episodes were focused on Lost Odyssey. So if you were a fan of that game, please check out those episodes. We also have Rhythm Encounter, which is RPG Fan's music podcast. And last week was focusing on character themes. And I edited this one, and I had a really good time editing it because I love character themes. And there was some great music in this. Some really great music in this episode. So yeah, check that out. If you'd like to get in contact with us here at Random Encounter, you can fire us off a message at podcast@rpgfan.com. I would love to hear from you if you have any ideas for discussion questions, if you have any ideas for things, themes, episode ideas, just fire them off, please. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to send me an email, you can do so at jlogan@rpgfan.com, or you can find me on Mastodon at jonologan@mastodon.social. I'm not the only person on this podcast with an online presence. Alvin, where can we find you online?
I am on Twitter, unfortunately. My handle is Rarutos, Rarutos.
Cool. And Izzy, where can we find you online?
As usual, you can't. But you can direct all commentary to Jono or Des, just pass it along, or just blast it off to RPG Fan wherever you want.
Yep. And Des, where can people fire their fan mail for Izzy?
This time you can send all of your fan mail directly to me in the Discord, in the RPG Fan Discord. You can just see my name under staff and feel free to say hi. be nice. I'm not on Twitter, thankfully, so that'll be it.
Cool. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends to help us get the word out there. You can rate us on iTunes or your other podcast players of choice. I'd like to thank everyone here for joining me and taking a busy evening. It was a Friday night because we're doing this kind of last minute just because of the news and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you giving me your time. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
Yes, Alvin, great job on your first episode.
Oh, thank you. I was a little nervous.
Don't worry about it. It's fun. And Izzy, and as always, a pleasure.
Oh, I live for these emergency episodes. Hopefully we get one for 16.
Yeah, we want to join that.
That'll probably be the plan. Yes. We'll see about that. I mean, if I might even just give it to, like I said, I don't have a horse in this race, so I might just give the emergency episode to Zach, and just let it just say here, just get it on people who want to freak out about 16.
Yeah, I'm down.
I should probably clear that with him or before I, volunteer his time, because he's also very busy with Retro Encounter right now until Solosi gets back. Anyway, again, thank you for joining us. Everyone out there, thank you for joining us. And whatever you're playing, have fun.